Unbreakable, the bond that defied death. The call of duty. In the rugged foothills of Colorado, where pine-scented winds swept across the Rocky Mountains, a bond was forged that would become legendary among first responders. At the Denver Fire Station 37, a German Shepherd puppy with alert amber eyes and coal-black fur took his first tentative steps across the polished concrete floor. The firefighters watched in amusement as Captain Michael Brennan knelt down, extending a weathered hand toward the 8-week-old pup. "This is Nico," Michael announced to his crew. "He's going to be the best rescue dog this department has ever seen." No one doubted his words. Michael Brennan was not a man given to exaggeration. At 42, he had spent 20 years running into burning buildings when others ran out. The scars on his hands and the silver streaking his dark hair told stories of countless rescues and narrow escapes. But behind his commanding presence was a man who had lost his family in a house fire years ago, a tragedy that had shaped his unwavering dedication to saving others. Nico grew quickly under Michael's meticulous training. The bond between them deepened with each passing day as the German Shepherd's natural intelligence and courage blossomed. By his first birthday, Nico could navigate through smoke-filled rooms, detect heartbeats beneath rubble, and lead his handler through the most treacherous conditions. The other firefighters marveled at how the dog seemed to anticipate Michael's commands before they were even given. What began as a professional partnership soon transformed into something more profound. Michael, who had lived alone since losing his wife and daughter, found in Nico a reason to come home at night. The empty house in the Colorado mountains gradually filled with the warmth of companionship, a dog bed by the fireplace, toys scattered across the wooden floor, and paw prints alongside boot tracks in the snow outside. Warriors of the Flame. The summer of 2010 brought the worst wildfire season Colorado had seen in decades. As flames devoured the drought-stricken forests, Nico and Michael were deployed to the front lines. In the chaos of evacuation, an elderly couple had gone missing from their remote cabin. With visibility reduced to mere feet and toxic smoke filling the air, Michael fitted Nico with protective booties and a specially designed mask. "Find them, boy," he commanded, his voice steady despite the roaring inferno surrounding them. Nico moved with purpose, his nose working tirelessly despite the overwhelming smell of smoke. When human rescuers had given up hope, the German Shepherd led Michael through a narrow ravine to where the couple had taken shelter in a small cave. The rescue made national headlines. Hero dog saves elderly couple from Colorado inferno. But that was just the beginning. Over the next 8 years, Nico and Michael became legends within the first responder community. They pulled children from collapsed buildings after the Denver earthquake of 2013. They found survivors buried beneath avalanches in the treacherous backcountry. During the catastrophic floods of 2015, Nico swam through raging currents to deliver life-saving medicines to stranded families. Each mission strengthened their connection. Michael could read Nico's body language with uncanny precision, knowing exactly when the dog had detected signs of life. Nico, in turn, would follow Michael into situations no other handler could command their dog to enter. They moved as one entity, breathed as one soul. The wall of Michael's mountain cabin slowly filled with commendations, medals, and photographs. A framed article from the Denver Post declared them Colorado's guardian angels. But neither the man nor his dog seemed to notice the accolades. For them, each rescued life was reward enough. Shadows falling. The first signs of trouble came on a cold February morning in 2018. Nico, now 9 years old, hesitated at the base of the training course. His back legs trembled slightly as he prepared to jump. Michael noticed immediately. The veterinarian's words were gentle but firm. Degenerative myelopathy, a progressive disease of the spinal cord commonly found in German Shepherds. There was no cure, only management of symptoms and inevitable decline. He can still work for a while, the vet explained, but you should start preparing for his retirement. Michael nodded stoically, but that night, sitting before the fireplace with Nico's head in his lap, he allowed himself to weep silently into the dog's thick fur. Nico responded by licking his hand, as if to say, "I'm still here." They continued working, though Michael carefully selected assignments that wouldn't tax Nico's declining strength. The German Shepherd's mind remained sharp, his sense of smell undiminished, but his once powerful body was beginning to betray him. The younger handlers at the station pretended not to notice when Michael would lift Nico into the truck or carry him up steep terrain. Then came the headaches, splitting migraines that left Michael nauseated and disoriented. At first, he dismissed them as stress or altitude sickness. But when he collapsed during a training exercise, his team rushed him to the hospital. The MRI revealed what everyone feared most: glioblastoma, an aggressive brain tumor with devastatingly low survival rates. 6 months, the oncologist estimated. Perhaps a year with treatment. That same week, Nico's condition worsened dramatically. He could no longer climb the stairs to Michael's bedroom. His once lustrous coat became dull, and his amber eyes clouded with pain. 2 warriors, both failing, both running out of time. The waiting room. Rocky Mountain Veterinary Hospital was quiet on that gray Wednesday morning in April 2019. Dr. Sarah Keller reviewed Nico's file with a heavy heart. At 11 years old, the German Shepherd's body was shutting down. The pain medications were no longer effective. His muscles had atrophied to the point where standing was almost impossible. The latest tests showed his heart was beginning to fail. The decision for euthanasia hadn't been made lightly. For weeks, Michael had resisted, even as his own condition deteriorated rapidly. The aggressive cancer had spread despite radiation and chemotherapy. Now confined to Aspen Valley Hospice care, Michael had finally conceded that keeping Nico alive was prolonging his suffering. He made the right choice, Dr. Keller murmured to her assistant, Emma. But God, I wish they could say goodbye. The hospice was 30 miles away. Michael was too weak to travel, his doctor having given him days, perhaps hours. The plan was to euthanize Nico with dignity, then bring his collar to Michael so he could hold something of his partner when his own time came. Emma arranged the sterile silver table with compassionate care, placing Nico's favorite blanket, a worn red plaid that still carried Michael's scent, beneath the German Shepherd's frail body. The old dog's breathing was labored, his once powerful chest barely rising with each shallow intake. His cloudy eyes stared vacantly at the ceiling, occasionally blinking when Emma gently stroked his head. Dr. Keller prepared the 2-syringe protocol, the first to sedate, the second to stop the heart. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, though her eyes betrayed the emotion she felt for this particular patient. Nico wasn't just any dog. He was a hero who had saved countless lives. All set, she announced quietly. Let's give him peace. Emma nodded, her hand still resting on Nico's head. Dr. Keller approached with the first syringe, finding a vein in the dog's front leg. Just as the needle touched his skin, something extraordinary happened. Nico's body tensed. His ears, once perpetually alert but now usually flat against his head, pricked forward. A tremor ran through his frame. Then, summoning strength no one believed he still possessed, the old German Shepherd lifted his head and released a howl so profound it seemed to shake the small examination room. It wasn't a cry of pain. It was something else entirely. A call, a plea, a desperate reaching across distance. Emma stepped back, her clipboard clattering to the floor. Dr. Keller froze, the needle still poised above Nico's leg. The dog howled again, the sound tapering into a whimper that broke every heart in the room. Then he collapsed back onto the blanket, his strength spent, but his eyes suddenly alert, focused on the door as if expecting someone. The phone at the reception desk rang shrilly, cutting through the stunned silence. The receptionist answered, her expression changing from confusion to disbelief. Dr. Keller, she called, bursting into the examination room. It's Aspen Valley Hospice. Captain Brennan, he's demanding to come here. They can't stop him. He's insisting on seeing Nico right now. The final journey. Aspen Valley Hospice was in chaos. Michael Brennan, whose body had been ravaged by cancer and treatment, had somehow pulled himself from bed when he heard Nico was being put down. The nurses found him collapsed on the floor, trying to drag himself toward the door. I need to be there, he rasped, his once commanding voice now a whisper. I promised him. Dr. Reeves, the hospice medical director, knew Michael had days, perhaps hours left. Moving him could hasten the end. But looking into the firefighter's eyes, seeing the fierce determination that had driven him into burning buildings for decades, the doctor made an unprecedented decision. Get an ambulance, he ordered the stunned staff. We're taking him to his dog. The 30-mile journey became a race against time. Inside the ambulance, Michael drifted between consciousness and darkness, his breathing erratic, his pulse weakening. The paramedics exchanged concerned glances as the monitors showed declining vitals. Yet whenever Michael's eyes opened, they burned with the same intensity that had defined his career, the unwavering resolve to complete one final mission. Back at Rocky Mountain Veterinary Hospital, Dr. Keller had delayed the euthanasia. Nico lay still on the table, his breathing shallow but stable. It was as if the old German shepherd was holding on, waiting for something or someone. His vitals shouldn't be stable, Emma whispered, watching the monitors. With his condition, he should be. She didn't finish the sentence. They all knew what she meant. Nico should already be gone, his failing body finally surrendering. Yet here he was, defying medical explanation, his heart maintaining a steady, if weak, rhythm. When the ambulance sirens wailed in the distance, Nico's ears twitched. His tail, motionless for days, gave the faintest thump against the blanket. Dr. Keller felt a chill run down her spine. Somehow the dog knew. The emergency entrance doors burst open. Paramedics rushed in, wheeling a gurney carrying Michael's skeletal frame. His skin was yellowed from liver failure, his once robust body now so diminished he barely made an impression beneath the thin blanket. But his eyes, those remained unchanged, blazing with purpose. "Where is he?" Michael's voice was barely audible. "Where's my boy?" Dr. Keller stepped forward. "He's waiting for you, Captain Brennan." The staff watched in reverent silence as the gurney was wheeled into the examination room. The moment Michael entered, Nico's body tensed. The old German shepherd summoned his remaining strength, lifting his head toward the scent he would recognize among millions. "Bring me closer," Michael commanded, and the paramedics positioned the gurney alongside the examination table. With trembling fingers, Michael reached out to touch the black fur now heavily streaked with gray. Nico responded with a soft whimper, his cloudy eyes fixed on his handler's face. For a moment, the years seemed to fall away. They were once again the invincible team, the legendary rescuers who feared nothing when they were together. "Hey, partner," Michael whispered, his breath catching. "You waited for me. Together, until the end." The room fell silent except for the synchronized beeping of two sets of monitors. One tracking the faltering heartbeat of a dog who had given everything to save others. One following the fading life signs of the man who had led him into danger and glory. The medical staff stood motionless, unwilling to intrude on a moment so sacred it seemed to transcend the sterile confines of the examination room. Michael's hand, once strong enough to carry victims from collapsing buildings, now trembled as it rested on Nico's side. The German shepherd's breathing synchronized with his handlers, shallow, labored, but peaceful. There was no fear in either of them now, no struggle against the inevitable. "You can rest now," Michael murmured, his voice so faint that Dr. Keller had to strain to hear it. "Mission complete, Nico. You did good, boy. So good." Nico's tail gave one more gentle thump against the blanket. His amber eyes, though clouded with age, never left Michael's face. The bond between them, forged through fire and danger and countless acts of courage, remained unbroken even as their bodies failed. Dr. Keller stepped forward, the euthanasia drug still in her hand, but Michael shook his head almost imperceptibly. "No need," he whispered. "He's ready now. We both are." As if understanding his words, Nico let out a deep sigh. His body relaxed, the tension of pain and waiting finally released. His breathing slowed, each exhale softer than the last, until with one final gentle breath, the legendary rescue dog slipped away. Michael watched, his eyes never leaving his partner even as his own breathing became increasingly labored. A single tear traced its way down his hollow cheek, but his expression was one of profound peace rather than grief. The monitors tracking Nico's vital signs flatlined into a continuous tone. Dr. Keller moved to silence them, but before she could reach the machine, the monitors tracking Michael's heart rate began to change. His pulse, already weak, began to fade rapidly. "Captain Brennan?" Emma stepped forward in alarm, but Dr. Keller gently pulled her back. "Let him go," she whispered. Michael's eyes remained fixed on Nico, his hand still resting in the German shepherd's fur. His lips curved into the faintest smile, perhaps remembering a mountain rescued, a child saved, a moment of triumph shared with his faithful partner. Then, with an exhale that seemed more like release than surrender, Captain Michael Brennan followed his dog into the quiet darkness. Two heartbeats, stilled within moments of each other. Two warriors who had lived as one and, now, had died as one. Outside, the spring rain that had been threatening all morning finally began to fall, soft and steady against the windows. Nature's own tribute to two heroes who had given everything for others. The legacy. The story of Michael and Nico spread like wildfire across Colorado and then the nation. Local news stations covered it first, then national networks. The image of the firefighter and his faithful German shepherd, inseparable in life and in death, touched something profound in the collective consciousness. It wasn't just a story about a man and his dog. It was a testament to loyalty, courage, and a bond that transcended understanding. Denver Fire Station 37 was overwhelmed with flowers, cards, and donations. Michael's fellow firefighters, still reeling from the loss, found themselves at the center of a movement they hadn't anticipated. People wanted to do something, to create meaning from the story that had moved them to tears. Battalion Chief Robert Hayes, who had worked alongside Michael for 15 years, found himself standing before news cameras and crowds of supporters. Michael and Nico showed us what it means to never leave anyone behind, he explained, his voice rough with emotion. Now it's our turn to honor that commitment. The Brennan-Nico Foundation was established within weeks of their passing. Its mission was twofold: to provide care for retired service dogs and to create a sanctuary for homeless and abandoned animals. The donations poured in, from schoolchildren emptying piggy banks to corporate sponsors offering matching grants. 6 months later, on a crisp autumn day, the foundation opened its doors on 20 acres of land in the foothills where Michael had lived. The Brennan-Nico Sanctuary featured state-of-the-art veterinary facilities, comfortable retirement quarters for aging service dogs, and rehabilitation spaces for animals awaiting adoption. At the entrance stood a bronze statue, a firefighter kneeling beside his German shepherd, their gazes fixed on the horizon, eternally vigilant. The plaque beneath it read simply, "Some bonds never break." The sanctuary quickly became known for its specialized care of older service animals, dogs who, like Nico, had given their best years to protecting and saving humans. Police K-9s with graying muzzles found peaceful retirement among the mountain pines. Search and rescue dogs whose bodies could no longer manage difficult terrain spent their days basking in the Colorado sunshine, their years of service honored and remembered. But perhaps most remarkable was the program that paired at-risk youth with these veteran animals. Teenagers who had never known stability found purpose in caring for creatures who understood loyalty better than most humans. Children who had experienced trauma connected with dogs who had seen the worst of humanity but still believed in the best. On the anniversary of Michael and Nico's passing, the sanctuary held a memorial service. Hundreds gathered, firefighters in dress uniforms, K-9 handlers with their partners sitting attentively at their sides, families whose lives had been saved by the legendary team. As twilight descended over the mountains, candles were lit, creating a river of light flowing from the main building down to the memorial statue. Chief Hayes, now serving on the foundation's board, addressed the gathered crowd. "A year ago, we lost two heroes," he began, his voice carrying across the hushed gathering. "But in their passing, they gave us a gift greater than any rescue they performed in life. They reminded us that courage isn't about fearlessness. It's about moving forward despite fear. That loyalty isn't conditional, it's absolute. And that love, in its purest form, transcends even death itself." As he spoke, a young German shepherd puppy with alert amber eyes and coal-black fur trotted across the stage, followed by a firefighter from Station 37. The crowd broke into applause as the handler explained that this was the first of the Nico's Legacy program, service dogs specifically trained to assist firefighters in search and rescue missions. The puppy sat at attention, his intelligent gaze sweeping across the audience, his posture echoing that of the bronze statue standing sentinel nearby. In him lived the spirit of his namesake, the courage, the dedication, the unwavering heart of a guardian. Miles away, in the mountain cemetery where Michael and Nico were buried side by side, the last rays of sunset gilded their shared headstone. The inscription, simple yet profound, caught the fading light. "Faithful companions in life, inseparable in death, eternal in memory." As darkness fell over Colorado, the legacy of a man and his dog continued to shine, a beacon of hope, a testament to bonds that even death could not sever, a reminder that true love leaves paw prints on our hearts forever. The undying bond from fiction to reality. In firehouses across America, stories like Michael and Nico's aren't just fiction, they're echoes of truth. Every day, service dogs work alongside their handlers, forming bonds so profound they defy simple explanation. These partnerships aren't merely professional. They're sacred commitments that transcend the ordinary boundaries between species. Ask any K9 handler, and they'll tell you. Their dog isn't equipment, it's family. There's Jake, the lab who refused to leave his handler's side after a building collapse in Chicago. Or Sadie, the German shepherd who detected cancer in her handler before medical tests confirmed it. These aren't anomalies. They're testaments to an ancient alliance between humans and dogs that continues to evolve. The most heart-wrenching truth? Many service dogs literally grieve themselves to death after losing their handlers. Veterinarians report cases where healthy canines decline rapidly following their partner's passing. A phenomenon so common that specialized support programs now exist for retired service animals. Organizations like Faithful Partners Memorial and K9 Heroes Rest were founded precisely because these bonds are real, powerful, and deserving of recognition. When we weep at stories like Michael and Nico's, we're not just mourning fictional characters. We're honoring a covenant as old as civilization itself. Thank you for watching this heartfelt story. We hope it touched your heart and left you with something meaningful to reflect on. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more inspiring stories like this. Your support means the world to us. See you in the next video.